Hello, friend, and welcome. If this is your first time to the collective, I'm so happy to see you. If you're returning, I'm excited to see you again. And today we are talking about what is blocking us from love. And if you're in a relationship, this includes you too, because it's not just what's blocking us from love, like as in a partner, it's what's blocking us from the love that we want to receive. So if you're in a relationship, it's what's keeping you from being, the happy that you're hoping for, or the intimate, or that closeness that you're looking for. And if you're not in a relationship, then this is very well easily to be read as what is keeping you from finding, the person who is meant for you. So either way, we are trying to discover what is blocking us from being in a happy, healthy, loving relationship. As always, I am solution oriented, but in order to find the solution, we have to know what's lying underneath. So let's go ahead and get those cards. It's this one. I know that one wants to come too, just in that order. All right, so the first card that popped up is humility. The irony of this one, because that's so straightforward. Humility is something that you need to have in any relationship. You need to, see yourself as you truly are, and you need to be open and you need to be vulnerable. If you are trying to live a false, grandiose life, then whether you're in a relationship or not, that's not going to be received well at all. And if you're already in a relationship, this could have something to do with the fact that you are wearing a hat, whether as a mom, a husband, a dad, a wife, whatever it is, girlfriend, fiance, you're wearing some kind of hat and you are putting off airs that you can handle it, that you got this, that, whatever is happening is going okay, but it's really not. You need help with something. Like, you need help with planning, you need help with chores, you need help with, maybe just having a person to talk to about something that you're not doing well with. And this help doesn't have to come from outside the relationship. It can be your partner. But if, the problem might be your partner, then maybe you need to talk to somebody outside of the relationship. Maybe a mom, a sister, a brother, a dad, a friend, anybody, a cousin. But there's something about this card where you're being weighed down because you're not being open and you're not being vulnerable. And what I love about this card is when you choose to be open and vulnerable, that's when you're going to fly. But as long as you are keeping yourself in a place where you're putting on an air of okayness and grandiose and I can handle this, that's not when you fly. Feminine energy. Okay, so this, I don't care if you're male or female, this includes you, because this is about you needing to go with the flow, trusting your intuition, understanding that sometimes logic isn't the best choice. And if you're in a relationship, that is not what you want to hear. And I get it. I love my husband, I do. But sometimes when, we have to go alternative routes to find solutions, it drives me up a wall. It drives me bonkers. But sometimes that's the route that needs to be taken in order for him to understand what it is that I need, the help that I'm looking for. And so sometimes you do just have to go with the flow. Sometimes you do just have to trust the process. What matters most is that you're being open, honest, and vulnerable about whatever the situation is. And if you're not in a relationship, well, then that's very clear too. Again, go with the flow. If you feel the need to go to a coffee shop at a time that's not normally your time to go to a coffee shop, go to a coffee shop. If you find yourself wanting to strike conversation with somebody that isn't your typical type, go ahead and talk to them. I don't know how many of my friends marry their not typical type. And you know what? They are great spouses, great partners for them. So, allow yourself to do something different. Responsibility. So this one's important because this is a reminder that your other half, your partner, your spouse, isn't going to just take over and do everything for you. You're still responsible for whatever it is that you're trying to do and achieve and accomplish in your own life. I know before I found my husband, I thought that, being in a relationship meant that everything was going to be 50-50. And that's not the truth. And people in relationships will 100% tell you that. Here's the truth. You need to be responsible for your life, and you need to start understanding that you need to take responsibility for your own happiness in your own life before you can be in that relationship with someone, because they're not going to make you happy. They might help to bring happiness to your life, but if you're already not happy, they're not the answer. And if you are in a relationship and we're getting this card, you need to remember too, again, it's not your spouse's job to make you happy. It's their job to help and support you and love you, but it's also your job to do the same thing. What's important first is that you take care of your happiness and you take responsibility for it and stop pushing it off onto the other person. Waves of emotion. So yeah, we got some turbulence going on. We have a lot that needs to be worked through. We have, honestly, like as I'm seeing this card and I'm feeling it, I'm feeling really stressed out and I'm feeling really anxious. And I 100% think that's because we're hiding behind something. We're putting on a show. We're not being honest and we're trying to control things. And like, look at this card. There's no controlling that wave. There's no controlling the ocean, and you can't control your emotions. If you have the ability to do that, you're not living an authentic life. You're living a very masked life. Because our emotions are our authentic self. And seeing this wave of emotions feels like right now there is just so much turbulence going on that you really need to focus on seeing what it is that you want. What is it that you're truly seeking? If you are not in a relationship, are you, trying to heal yourself? Are you trying to find happiness? Are you trying to find purpose? Find those things without the partner, because a partner is not going to bring that clarity to you. And for those of you in a relationship, what is it that you're seeking? Are you seeking to have a more open, honest, and intimate relationship with your partner? Well, then guess what? You need to start being more open and more honest so that intimacy can naturally happen. Are you seeking to find happiness? Are you seeking to find authenticity? Well, you need to start being open and honest, and you need to start working through these emotions and talking about these emotions. And you and your partner need to start making steps in order to help yourself. And to be honest, if your partner's not willing to do that on your behalf, if your partner's not supporting that, then you need to consider whether your partner is right for you or not. And that's not an easy decision to make either. So let's see what our last card is. Envy. This is a relationship killer easily, because it's really easy to see other people's highlight reels. And this isn't even just, this is for everybody. Like, I remember being single and seeing all the happy couples and being like, oh my God, I wish I had that. I can't wait to have it. And then when I started my relationship with my husband, I would be so mad that he wouldn't do what all the other boyfriends and fiancés were doing. But that wasn't him. And I had to work through that. I had to drop that. And, relationships can get stagnant. They can feel like routine. They can feel like work after a little while. And that is an unfortunate part of being in a long-term relationship. But it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to create your own highlight reels, if you want to do things differently, or if you're just going to keep looking at others and not, focusing on yourself. Because here's the thing about this envy card, is they are all looking at each other, but not a one of them are looking at themselves. And that is 100% what envy is about, is that you're not realizing what it is that you have. You're not focusing on what it is you have. You're not seeing that what you have is something worthy of being happy about. And if you're not happy, if you are miserable, then we need to start being open and honest about that. And we need to work through that wave of emotions. If part of where this discomfort, this unhappiness comes from is because you're comparing, well, then maybe see what does work in relationships. See what makes you happy in your relationship. There's got to be something. You can't have just been miserable this whole time, because if you've been miserable this whole time, I really want to know why you're in it. And for those people who are single, understand that, again, you're just looking at the highlight reels. I know plenty of people who are in relationships that come at me and they say things along the lines of, like, sometimes it would be easier if I was single. And yeah, there's moments in my own relationship I have felt that way. They've been at low points, I'm not gonna lie. But there's something about just living your own life and not having to consider the other person and how what you do is going to affect them. And I say this knowing that I would still choose my partner over being single, but understand that, the grass is always greener on the other side is kind of that situation. So right now, I don't care if you're in a relationship or not, the message is that you need to focus on your own happiness. You need to focus on your own self. You need to start working on that vulnerability and being open and sharing yourself and going with the flow and working through these emotions. Because no matter what your current situation is, if these things aren't worked on, being in a relationship isn't going to solve any of it. So now I want to ask the tarot cards what it is that is keeping us from being open, keeping us from being vulnerable. What is it that is holding us in the space where we have to act like we're more than what we are, that we can handle more than what we are? I feel like right now that we're just so caught up in trying to be this perfect person, this person that everyone expects you to be because of like the role you're meant to play. And like, I get it, but at the same time, why is that dictating our life? All right, we have the Five of Swords in its reverse position. So two things. Fives are always about change, and swords is that air element. It's your mind, it's your thought processes. And with this card, there's no winners, okay? There is a need to call for truth and honesty. Back to this humility card, 100%. The Five of Swords is asking you to like put down your weapons, put down your sharp verbs, put down those critical thoughts, put down those self-deprecating, self-sabotaging, coping mechanisms, and allow yourself to find truth and compromise. This card is all about compromise. Because if you can find compromise, then you can find a win. But it's going to take you being honest and open and vulnerable with your situation. And yeah, that's a real easy situation or circumstance to see if you're in a relationship. So how do you do that being single? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself about what it is that's going on in your life. And how do you find compromise? You use compassion on yourself. You say, yes, right now I'm not happy and this is how I'm feeling and I don't like it. And I'm the one who has kept me here or put me here, and I take responsibility for that. But I know I can, love myself as I am now, and I'm going to start working to do better, to start giving myself grace. That is compromise. So this Five of Swords, first straight up, is asking for compromise. Because I feel like, too, that we have been fighting, we have been battling. We've been either battling our partner or our spouse, or we've been battling our inner critic. And we've been finding all the faults, all the blames, all the negatives, and we have 100% forgotten to see the good, to remember the good, and to remember that, there are happy and good things about us. Empress in her reverse position. This is a tough card to receive in this reading because the Empress in her reverse position is that winter season. It's the digging of the roots. It's the doing the hard work. It's the going internal. It's the shadow work. There's no way around it. If you've been with me for a minute, you know that we have our spring, summer, fall, and winter seasons as a person. And when you have the Empress, you're either in your fall going into winter or you are already in your winter season. And you are being asked to find comfort in the stillness. You're being asked to work through the discomfort. You're being asked to continue to dig those roots of yourself, of your authentic, true self, of your core personality, and to, keep working at it. And you're not going to see immediate results, unfortunately. It just is what it is. Think about the wintertime. Think about how all the trees are bare. They do grow. We just don't see it. We don't notice it until spring happens when it flourishes more and there's just so many more leaves and it's a little bit taller. The Empress in her reverse position is the same way. We got the Death card. So something needs to change. And this Death is upright, which tells me that you're not actively working through the change. You're not actively seeking the change. You're just kind of sitting and waiting. This card is calling upon you to make the change. It's calling upon you to do the thing that allows you to be different, that allows you to have different circumstances. You can stay stagnant in the same place, or you can make change. Change is the only way that you're going to find happiness. And yeah, that means that something about yourself is probably going to have to be released. Something about what you're doing is no longer going to be able to exist the way it is. Maybe that's a habit that you have to stop doing. Maybe it's a coping mechanism you need to stop doing. Maybe it's a thought belief. Maybe it's, an identity that you have that needs to change, that needs to shift, that needs to no longer be. Are you telling yourself that you're this highly independent person and that you don't need somebody, even though you're looking to be in a relationship, or even though you're looking to have a closer relationship with the person that you have? Because if that's the identity that you're wearing, you're not you're not using humility, you're not being vulnerable, and you are creating your own wave of emotion, because you're literally creating a wall, creating a barrier that is keeping you from having that connection that you are so longing for. Then we have the Two of Coins in its upright position. I want to remind you that coins are not just about finances. It's about time and energy, because you spend time and you spend energy. And the Two of Coins is all about that balance. And it's 100% about balance when it comes to relationships. How do you balance your time? How do you balance your energy? What are you focusing your energy on? Are you focusing your energy on all the negatives, or are you focusing in on the good things that are happening too? Are you looking realistically at what your situation is, or are you looking at through that lens of whatever it is that you're trying to keep to yourself? Are you so focused on who you're trying to be, chasing up with the Joneses and trying to be just like everybody else, just like the Instagram people, just like the TikTok people? Or are you putting energy in being yourself authentically 100%? You're the one that chooses. You're the one that determines this. So are you going to put energy towards balance, towards health, towards authenticity, or are you going to keep turning away from it? All right, now I want to ask the cards, what is it that we need to do to work through this wave of emotions, to help us focus on ourselves and break down whatever barriers or like self-defense mechanisms that are keeping us from having true humility and vulnerability? What is it that will allow us to find, the chance and the opportunity to feel like we can have the courage and the understanding to be who it is that we want to be, and allow us to love ourselves the way that we need to love ourselves, so we can, find love within another? Determination. Okay, so this card, I love that. Okay, so I'm sorry. I saw how focused the dragon was at first, and that was my initial focus when I was looking at it. But then I saw this design that's by the tail, and it was one of those things where you need to not only have focus and a straight, clear vision of what it is that you're looking for, but also, to me, this is them practicing making that orb. And it's one of those that no matter what, they were going to make the perfect orb. They were going to make, they were going to keep working at it until they found a way to love it as it is. And this card is that reminder that if you want something, you have to stay focused at it. And it has to take practice. It has to take determination. If you're already in a relationship, that looks like you practicing being vulnerable. That looks like you practicing admitting what you need. That looks like you practicing being open and honest about what your situation really is. And if you're not in a relationship, it's about you being determined to love yourself fully and be yourself authentically. Because whoever is meant for you is going to love that version of you way more and be way more attracted to that version of you than the version of you that you're just pretending to be. Let's stop pretending and let's start actually being. Stillness. All right. So maybe there's too much fire going on in this relationship. I mean, we do have feminine energy and we do have wave of emotion. So I feel like maybe there's need to release. There's a need to just be still. And I have to say, again, even in my own relationship, There's been times where me and my husband aren't meeting eye to eye, and sometimes it's due to our personal things, but sometimes it's due to external circumstances where we're just like on completely different schedules and things are just, constantly chaotic and we don't have a chance just to sit and enjoy each other's company. Sometimes that's all it takes, is a night in each other's company, not even doing anything, just sitting on the couch watching TV together or having a nice dinner together. And when I mean nice, I'm not saying that we're going out to a fancy restaurant. I literally mean that I'm cooking a meal and that's our dinner, but I put effort into it and he helped with dishes. Stillness. Or maybe the answer is, whether you're in a relationship or not, maybe you just need to go and be still yourself. Maybe you need to find harmony in the stillness, because stillness is really important. Stillness gives you a chance to hear your inner voice talk. Stillness gives you a chance to understand what it is that's truly bothering you and what is at your core. Stillness helps to allow you to release these emotions, whether you're, crying in your car or in a, shower, whether you're screaming into a pillow or into your car. I don't know what it is that you need to do, but typically if we're releasing emotion, we're being still. It's not often that we're actively releasing hard and big emotions. You normally find that through stillness. Meditation. So we really do need to go within, 100%. And this stillness was not by accident. You need to go within and figure out what it is that is bothering you, what it is that is having you wear a mask, what it is that is keeping you from, finding happiness within yourself so that it can be shared with others. What is it that is making you believe that what you have right now isn't enough? Is that maybe something we need to let go of? Is that what part of this change is? Is that you need to see what you truly have instead of trying to create and be something that isn't even meant for you to create? Grounding. Okay, if you needed any more information that you needed to go still, be still, go within, put your feet in the dirt, I don't know how much more you could get. That is 3 straight cards representing the same thing, pretty much. And I feel like once we allow all this to happen, this 5 of Swords card is going to release itself. This wave of emotion will feel safe enough to come up and come out. This change that you're just looking for will naturally present itself, because you have given yourself the chance to listen, to, allow the divine to come in and just take the course that it needs to take. You're going to give yourself the chance to go within and dig in deeper and get those roots even deeper. The Empress reversed is literally these 3 cards, 100%. And this actually 4th. These 4 cards, easily, verbal representations, physical representations of what the Empress in her reverse position is. So this is about what's blocking you from love. The cards are calling you out and saying it's you. 100%. But it's not you in whatever obvious answer you're thinking it is. It's you giving yourself a hard time when you need to give yourself compassion. It's you putting on a mask when you need to be vulnerable. It's you looking for more distractions when you need to be still, when you need to go within, and when you need to allow yourself to be very real about your situation. Right now, I want to ask the cards to just give us some encouragement, just give us some understanding to help us through this next phase, because it's going to be a phase. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a matter of you dropping masks and opening up. And, I get it. That's scary. It's kind of terrifying if it's not something that you're done before. And it's one of those where letting people see you where you are and as you truly are can be really uncomfortable. And it gets a little easier, but sometimes it's still just really uncomfortable. Embrace a sense of belonging. You are loved. This is just a beautiful picture. This house To me, it reminds me of a house that I would live in by myself when I was, just by myself before I had my husband. And why I say that is because, like, it's a little Cape Cod house and it just shows solidarity. And it's a reminder that love has to come from you first. But not only that, you have people that do love you. So allow yourself to realize and see what it is that you already have. And, understand that what you have is beautiful and don't take it for granted. It's time to create change by seeking out new opportunities. Okay. That's kind of what I was talking about with this death card, about you not waiting for the change to happen on its own, but you taking the time and energy to start creating the change. And honestly, if you're unsure on what it is and how you can, create change by seeking out new opportunities, be still. Go into meditation. Ground yourself. Allow it to come to you in the stillness. Allow it to come to you in the quiet. Because right now, everything's telling me that everything feels really loud and just overloaded. Give yourself that opportunity to be still. You're exactly where you're meant to be in this moment. All right, I get it. Either way, if you're single or in a relationship, this card feels like a smack in the face. Because it always feels that way to me. But I do want to remind you, and this is how I always have to think about this card, and it always gives me a shift in perspective. A plant never, ever questions whether its growth is high enough or tall enough, or whether it's blooming yet and why it hasn't bloomed. We just always appreciate nature for whatever it gives us. We need to find that in our own journey. And we need to understand that, until we're ready for it, it's not going to be, given to us. So if you think that you're ready and you think that you're looking and longing for something, then you haven't received it, maybe ask yourself, are you truly ready for it? And if the answer is no, what is it that you have to do in order to move forward? Trust your instincts to guide you towards your truth. The last card, always being the perfect wrap-up of a reading, is becoming a new and very common thing. So, trust your instincts to guide you toward your truth. This is one of those things where, again, it's a matter of you going still, you going inward, you listening to yourself. And when you start doing that, go with the flow. Use this feminine energy. Release the wave of emotions. Release whatever it is that's keeping you still and keeping you hurt. And if you're really just unsure of how to start and how to trust those instincts, hit me up in the comments below. This is a collective. We have a whole community of people that are here to support each other. And if you need help and guidance, I'm here to help you with that as well. And if you want more information on what it is that you need to be able to break down the barriers, to let go of the mask, to give yourself freedom, there is a link in the description below for private readings. I do have some available dates still, so feel free to hit me up that way. This is your reading for today, and I want you to know that I know that what you're going through is tough. Being vulnerable is scary, and I get that, but trust me, you got this and you can do it. I know this collective, and I've been with you for a while, and I want to see you succeed, and I can't wait for you to succeed. So I just want to remind you that you're not walking this path alone. I am here for you, the collective is here for you, and you're going to do amazing things. I love you so much, and I cannot wait to see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.